As you all know, I have been evaluating most of the NBA teams in the Western Conference and assessing their team futures. I will continue to do so with the Suns and Spurs and moving forward with all the Eastern Conference teams heading to Orlando in late July. For the remainder 8 teams, they will be included in their own video later on. Thanks and enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome to another video of DC NBA Junkie, where I'll be discussing NBA related content every single day. As you all might know, the NBA announced officially after receiving approval from the NBA's Board of Governors and the NBPA, the league is resuming July 30th, where 22 NBA teams will be sent to Disney World and staying there for as long as their teams are playing in the NBA playoffs, with the quest of winning an NBA title. It's finally nice to hear the return of NBA basketball, and what better way to enjoy so than by talking about what the NBA has been doing to put this plan into full force. Let's get to it. But before I begin, make sure to leave a like on the video and drop down in the comments section any suggestions for future video ideas or even ideas for future series, because any suggestions from you guys are highly advised and recommended. And lastly, make sure to subscribe. I mean, we're all here for some fresh and nice NBA content. To begin, I want to start talking about the play-in tournament before I get into the specifics in terms of the plan and the bubble and all that. I want to talk about the play-in tournament. And basically, the end of the season will consist of 8 regular season games, which prior to that will be a couple preseason games, but an 8-game resumption to the NBA season, and after that will begin the NBA playoffs. And those 8 games will include all 22 NBA teams, which is the 16 teams who are already in the playoffs, and joining them will be the New Orleans Pelicans, Memphis Grizzlies, the San Antonio Spurs, the Sacramento Kings, the Phoenix Suns, and the Washington Wizards that are all fighting for at least to be the 9th seed and within 4 games of the 8th seed or the 8th seed. Because if you're within 4 games of the 9th seed, then, if you're the 9th seed and you're 4 games within the 8th seed, then you will play in a Mega Bowl at the end of those 8 games, where it'll be a 3-game series, and the 8th seed needs to win just 1 game, while the 9th seed has to win 2 games. It's not like a best of 3, it's really just the bottom team having to win more games than the 8th seed. And so, kind of falling to this idea, to this plan, I think it's really good. I think it's a really good idea to get those teams that had a shot, specifically in the West. I have been talking about in my videos how these teams all deserve a chance, specifically like the Pelicans and the Grizzlies. I mean, not the Grizzlies, the Pelicans and the Portland Trailblazers. Sorry if I said the Grizzlies, I meant the Portland Trailblazers. Those are the teams that I think really deserve this position, and I think that those 2 teams in the West have the best shot to get that position, to get into position near the Grizzlies and play in that Mega Bowl tournament and even have a chance to get into the playoffs. Because I know the league was trying to find a way to get Zion to play, at least even in these regular final 8 games. So for the West, I think that's how it's going to go. But in the East, it's a situation where the Washington Wizards are 5.5 games. They're 5.5 games out from the 8th seed, so they're not like necessarily too far to get within the 4 games. But I really don't think it's most likely that they're going to be able to have that opportunity. Next, I want to go into the specific location. They announced that it's in Orlando, Florida, but specifically it's going to be at the Disney's. The games will take place at the Disney's ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida. And following that, they'll be subjected into the 3. They'll be staying at these 3 hotels: the Grand Destino, the Middle, and the Grand Floridian, and the Yacht Club. The top teams will stand at the Grand Destino. The middle ground, I don't know where that lies, but just the middle ground teams will be in the Grand Floridian, and the Yacht Club will be all the 8 teams that are attempting to join the playoffs. So I think in terms of location, I think it's not a bad idea. I think they're doing it at a place that Disney really does know. They have a great staff there. They know what they're doing there. I've heard through many podcasts and people that reports that Disney World is a really good location, specifically for hosting NBA teams They'll do a great job with it, I think. The only concern I have is that Disney World is looking to open up kind of near NBA resumption. I don't know which one of the hotels it's at, but I know that I think it's either the Grand Floridian or the Decina, that they're looking to welcome in guests again as soon as the NBA is kind of resuming. So I think there's a concern with not only having more people at Disney World for the people and the effects that it could have for them, and the staff, but more importantly the NBA and their players. There's more risk there, trying to work to further protect their players and hopefully so they can keep resuming the season. Next, I want to get into the activities. So those are like the things that the NBA players will be allowed to do, and reportedly the players have been notified and alerted that they will be able to enjoy activities such as ping pong, bowling, fishing, and other leisurely activities, golfing. These other leisurely activities, and interestingly enough, they'll also have barbers and hair stylists there, as well as along with pedicurists and even manicurists. Just people there that can assist their grooming needs on their hair or their fingers or feet. But in terms of these activities, I think the NBA is doing a sufficient job trying to provide as many activities as they can, especially since the NBA players, let's be honest, there hasn't been a lot for people to do in general, let alone for these NBA players are just trying to create an environment where they can still partake in activities, but they can't exactly do anything at Disney World. I'm not sure of yet, but there might be a point where they get to where they're allowed to take part in the activities there. But as far as I know, the players are only allowed to partake in these activities here, and the rules here are pretty interesting that I found for these activities. And that kind of moves into my next section here, the NBA's strangely specific rule book for the bubble. The NBA, of course, needs rules and things to apply in order to set the ground for this bubble location and what they're planning to do for this next part of the season. But I do think that they got pretty specific with some of these weird rules, and they got a little interesting to me. But some of the standard rules are the teams can only bring 35 people in general, including the players. So that will, I'm talking about like equipment managers and like health professionals and anything. There's even like a mental health advisor, like those kind of things. Anything that the NBA, the teams usually have, they're only limited to 35. But that also includes players, so they have to take advantage of that, and you have to think about staff too, the coaches and the trainers. So it's going to be interesting how that goes for the teams. But in addition, all players and team staff must wear masks at all times, unless removing so is allowed or permitted. This is some specific activities in which you have to you can't wear a mask. Showers can't be done at the sports complex, and leaving the bubble calls for a 10-day quarantine. But some of the weird rules I found were the golf outings must be pre-approved, and in addition to that, no caddies are allowed on the golf courses. There's no sharing snorkels or sea equipment. And the last one, I think this is interesting though, but anonymous hotlines used to report violations of protocol. And everyone's really trying to go for those top teams, so best believe that LeBron or the league is going to go as hard as they can to try to snitch on LeBron. I'm just glad D'Angelo Russell's not going to Disney World, because he might use that whole lot. But and then lastly, I want to get into my predictions and thoughts on just the plan, not like my predictions on the season. I can go into that on a can go further into that on a later video, but my predictions and thoughts on this plan. I think that this idea is really nice, and I think it was well planned out. Obviously it was. They were waiting to the really last second to make a decision and make sure that what they were doing is the best possible decision given the current social climate and just situation. I know there's been controversies and issues within the NBA PA with starting the season because of the social climate right now. And I think waiting was the best decision, because if they made a decision prior that they were only going to let in, so many number of teams, that could have caused further issues that the NBA would have had to dealt with later on, and they would have hurt them economically. They would have saw that they could make more money with these 8 teams, specifically having Zion Williamson playing at least 8 games, and that will generate revenue. So that's really important for them to have in. And I think it's a good idea, like I said, it's planned out, but another risk I want to add in here is the risk of the coronavirus in general. I mean, there's still a possibility that the coronavirus can affect players. It's not like it's gone. It's not like when these players go to the bubble, there's no coronavirus. Coronavirus can still be at Walt Disney World and in the bubble, and that's a concern because a decent number of people start getting infected, and there are players that are actually, and they're really significant, like LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, any of the really significant superstars that are going to have a big impact on these playoffs. They get infected, then how do we move forward? That's the biggest concern, how the NBA decides to move forward based on what happens with the virus in general. We're still learning, we're still understanding what's happening. It's not a done statement. So that's just another thing that the NBA needs to worry about, is the coronavirus in general. They're doing a lot to make sure that they're going to try to limit the spread, or limit the coronavirus being even entered into their bubble, but I still think there's a lot of concerns, especially since players can leave the bubble at any time for extraneous situations, if they really need to. And with that being said, that will be the end of today's video. I just wanted to kind of come back. I apologize for being gone for so long, but I wanted to just kind of come back on an interesting topic, talking about the NBA being back rather than just talking about teams that weren't really exactly relevant. But now I think it's interesting because I can go into the series and talk about how I really feel they will do, because now I know there's an NBA season returning. So yeah, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment down if you want another video talking about this NBA return. I can do so, because I don't feel like I hit every single point or hit up everything that I can talk about with this subject. But regardless, make sure to subscribe as well. And yeah, thank you for watching, and have a great day.